why we're using emulators? Because there's like 20 different writers, first of all. So then it comes down to, okay, you got to get a flash cartridge to every writer. You got to make sure they have the hardware. How do you capture it using a flash card? You have to have a computer and software to do that. Now, once you captured the video, you got to go through that. Now you got to pick up pictures in the video. So you're basically quadrupling the amount of work being done if you're going to capture on real hardware. It just doesn't make any sense. If it was one person doing the project or two, yes. But it's untenable for a project of this size and magnitude. You can't do it. You can't do it. And the screenshots for 95% of the games are going to look like the N64. You won't tell the difference. So like it's not going to matter because we're using the closest look to the N64 hardware on the emulator that we can get for almost all the games. We're doing as best we can. Trust me. I thought about this more than you, sir. Trust me. When it comes to this.
They're going for 90% compatibility.
Good fucking luck.
Good luck.
As I've talked about before, and people came after me, it's like, why did you do that? I just went through the hell for trying to get screenshots and accuracy for that looked like the 90s for 400 games. N64 emulation is the fucking pits. It's the pits.
Right.
And it's not going to get close to 100% anytime soon. That's the problem with this. One, this is the issue with the emulation. That's for emulation on the N64 has never gone for accuracy. It went to make sure games could run quickly on whatever hardware that existed that could run it. So they always focus on the more popular games, but not accuracy, especially in how they look. How they looked is not accurate at all. They look like late 90s PC games with all the different, like using DirectX and Glide and things like that.
Right, it looks more like something more akin
like PC ports.
Yeah, right.
So you're not getting accuracy. But the other problem is there was so much we learned weird, like low-level programming and hacks that the devs themselves had to do to get shit out of these games, like in Rogue Squadron, in order to get like the very crisp and clear audio effects like that. They had to like come up with tricks because it was so hard to fucking develop for the N64 in general. There's so many limitations. So, in the journey of trying to help out the writers in terms of the book, in terms of even to play these games semi-accurately, we had to do workarounds and use at least 3 emulators: Project 64, Mupin, and I forget what the third one in RetroArch that was used, because there was not a one-size-fits-all solution to this emulation. There is not. You can play with one emulator and the game runs like crap, and another one it might be better. You have to use different plugins to get it to work, probably different audio plugins that won't work with some games, that work with others, video ones. It's a nightmare if you're going for 100% or even close to it. We're not even talking about the game accuracy and how they look. In order to emulate an N64 game to look like it looked on the hardware, you need a graphics card usually to do it. You need a powerful graphics card to run it with a stable frame rate. On my computer, I couldn't even run Rogue Squadron at a stable frame rate. And my graphics card's not that old. So, of course, you say, well, Pet, I can do with this. That's the point. So for them to do this, Ian, this is what they're going to have to do. This thing's going to have to use multiple different types of emulators. They're going to have different like configuration settings and plugin settings for each individual game. This is going to be a nightmare, potentially, for them to figure this out. Forget about looking accurate. That's not happening. I'm telling you right now, that's going to be tough unless they come up with their own their own custom overlay to kind of make it look, the muddy overlay in order to so the jaggedy stuff gets around. You know what I mean? Like sure. Things like that. They're going to have to do some work here, I think. But people are going to go into this thinking this is going to be, this is just like I played in the 90s. It ain't going to be that. It's not.
Right.
I'm not even getting into multiplayer and things like that, and how some games you might have larger issues with computation power and emulators with multiplayer and things like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, the only thing they would I feel like the only way they could do this is the N64 library is, I guess, small enough that you go through and you just have it. I mean, you'd have to recognize every game that gets put in, and then do special configurations
exactly.
for every single one.
I'm saying that's what they do. They're going to go through all 400 games. They're going to have to trial and error, do different plugins. I don't know if how many of those plugins available. Like for example, Project 64 has something called the Angry Lion plugin. that is one of the ones you have to use in order to have it look like the hardware, but you need a graphics card in order to run it, like a powerful graphics card. It's the worst console to emulate. The worst. I guess of the, we'll just say the, no, it's the worst probably. Because you can do GameCube and Wii fine. They have a Switch emulator, because at that point it's a PC. N64 is the worst. It's the worst. I don't know about Jaguar. Where's Jaguar at? That's probably a piece of shit too, because of the architecture.
I would imagine that's got to be a
that's probably
nightmare.
That's probably a nightmare as well. But no one
yeah.
cares about Jaguar, so why bring it up?
Sure.
There's people that attack me behind the scenes, people that I'm very civil to, and I want to make it clear that you don't have to be nice to everyone, but you have to be civil. And I'm very civil to everyone I go to at these events. And when you have a bunch of YouTubers and egos thrown together, you're bound not to get along with everyone, not to be everyone's favorite person, and vice versa. And that's fine. We're adults. We can deal with that. But I'm always very civil to people, as long as they're civil to me. And that's what happens with this individual at these events, even though he spreads lies about me behind the scenes and collaborates and speaks to a human piece of garbage on YouTube that none of us like, and that might come up in the future as well. Someone that's attacked me and basically slandered and libeled me and has promoted piracy of my book. A human piece of trash. So that's always fun when someone talks to them and you have to see that person. Guilt by association. You are judged by, this is a life lesson right now, you are judged by who you associate with. That goes for everyone, and especially with us YouTubers.